I think we are ready to go with our next two speakers who will be talking about the blockchain guardians, safeguarding the future of Ethereum smart contract security. Instead of just one speaker, we have two. Surprise guest, it's happening. So give it up for your two speakers, Luksgrin and Pablo.
So, hello folks. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk. And today we're going to be talking about the blockchain guardians, safeguarding the future of Ethereum smart contract security. So, okay, when we usually speak about smart contract security, people will automatically assume that it's something very technical, but fret not, because this one is not going to be so technical. So this is a not tech talk certified. Let's quickly go through the agenda because we have a lot to cover and not so much time. So we will start by presenting ourselves, and then we will make a small introduction on the insights of the industry and how people kind of like perceive crypto from the outside. Then we'll go through a couple of hacks which are of relevance. We will show you the tech model, like the tech stack model, the system model of the Ethereum blockchain. And then we will run quickly through a couple of vulnerability classes, which we think are relevant for you to know, even if you are not into this world. They're still relevant. And then we will check the security stack. What are the players involved? What kind of toolings there are? What kind of interesting developments that have been in the past couple years? And then a quick too long didn't read. So let me just go into it. My name is Pablo. So I'm by training a UX researcher, but I've been doing penetration testing and red teaming like for the past years. And I'm also currently part of this Peerbit DAO, building it. And here to my right is Lucas.
So I go by Luksgrin on the internet. I'm a PhD student in applied mathematics, but during the night I do hacking and stuff. So currently I'm with Peerbit with Pablo. And yeah, you're trying to secure this space from the low level.
So let's check the insights. We were first wondering about how do users from the external perspective perceive the industry, right? And if you see these two charts, the one on the left, it's a survey on how the American population reacts to crypto, right? So apparently they heard a bit about it, but they're not really comfortable with it. And on the right side, you will see two graphs. So the first one is about volatility in the crypto market, and that's something that they are scared about mostly. And the second one is related to scams. So this is interesting already because security plays a major part in cryptocurrencies. The second one is rather obvious, related to scams, but the first one is not that obvious, and that's something that really worries people because whenever there is a hack, so there is also market volatility as a reaction to that hack. So if you want to onboard your grandma or your friends on someone else, then that's going to be a bit kind of complicated because there's like a lot of scams going on. We've seen what's going on, what happened last year with Sam Bankman-Fried and with Terra Luna and with all these major SEXs collapsing. And all these NFT rug pulls, people losing money, the influencers also like making all these kind of deals. And then hack-wise, it's hack after hack. So we have nation-state-sponsored hackers, like such as the Lazarus Group from North Korea, which the FBI just confirmed that, yeah, it's them who are exploiting breaches. There's a lot of issues in cross-chain breaches, and also different levels of the stack. And on the right, you can see the infamous wrecked leaderboard. If you're not familiar with it, I suggest you check it because that's a list of all the protocols that lost a lot of money on hacks. So
you may imagine that. How would you expect to make the ecosystem worldwide adoption while people are scared of hacks, scared of scams? Why would I put my money in here if tomorrow it'll be gone, right? So to address this, we have to take a look at the system model. What is the high-level systemization of, in this case, finance or the ecosystem itself? So you may know we have various levels. Here's a short diagram that may give you an idea of what it may look like. And every single level is not safe. So hackers may attack the protocol layer, contract layer, the consensus layer, network layer, even the auxiliary services. Right now, we're going to focus on what is called the application level, which are those two layers, the protocol layer and the smart contract layer. So in these two layers, we can see that across the years, there have been a growing and worrying amount of hacks and value that has been stolen. And it's been increasing year by year. See that in 2022, we had a record of the amount of money stolen, and the total number of hacks was slightly less than the year before, which means that hacks have been able to steal more money on average than last year. So why is this happening? Well, there are several vulnerability classes where money can be stolen. There are mainly three classes: technical vulnerabilities, which mean that the smart contract programming itself has a mistake, and black hats and bad actors take advantage of that to drain funds. There are also economical attacks, and there are also business design attacks. Let's start with technical vulnerabilities. One famous example is the Poly network. This hack happened on the 10th of August 2021, and the amount hacked was $610 million. And it was something that so the vulnerability was a signature hash collision. So basically, the contract could make a call that accepted a user input, here that we see as method. So the attacker only had to brute force a string that matched the signature of a function that they wanted to call. In this case, they wanted to call a function that gave themselves permission to drain the contract. As you can see here, if we take the bytes 4 and the KK hash of this function, which is the one that the attacker wanted to call, it coincides with the one below, which is your nonsense string that the hacker mined in order to get the same hash. So it's only 4 bytes, right? That is pretty easy to get by brute force. So another example of a technical vulnerability happened on the 1st of August. It was worth $190 million, and it happened at Nomad Bridge. So the mistake here was that the initialized function of the smart contract, the committed root was initialized as 0. So that set down the line that any invalid message, any message that should not pass, was set as valid as long as it wasn't executed before. But how? So see here we have a mapping, right, that maps bytes 32 to bytes 32, and it's the messages. And then we have another mapping that's called confirm at, and it sets to 1, right? So since committed root was set to 0, if we go down the line, right, we see that the process function, which calls whatever function you gave it to it, checked if the root passed was acceptable, right? So you get the message hash, it goes to messages. Since it's not acceptable, it will return 0, which is the default value in the mapping. And that 0 was actually interpreted as the whitelisted address 0 root, which returned here in time at the confirm at, it returned 1, as we set it in the initializer. Therefore, the acceptable root was always returning true. And the fun thing, well, fun or sad thing about this hack is that it wasn't just one person, it wasn't the black hat. There was like many opportunistic people that were looking at the mempool, and they copied the transaction. So that's why I have here, the opportunists launched the same attack, just changing the deposit address, so they received the funds instead of the attacker. And at the same time, the MEV bots made that attack as well. So it was like a party of exploiting the Nomad Bridge. Up to this date, it's unclear if that was on accident, like the black hat wasn't smart enough to think about that, or if it was on purpose, because so many people attacked the bridge, and also the MIV bots front-ran the transaction and so on. So you actually lost track of who was the original hacker, right? So you had a bunch of people exploiting this protocol. Who was the one that started it? No clue. Well, let's talk quickly about economic attack. The most famous one is Mango Markets, 13th of March 2022. $116 million. This one happened in Solana, but the concept may apply in any blockchain, right? So what happened here is that there was a price manipulation. So if you take flash loans, and then you borrow against an asset, and then you trade that asset with a sufficient amount of tokens, large tokens, yes. And the market is sufficiently illiquid, you can move the price wherever you want, right? So you move the price, and then you have more tokens, you sell it at this fake price, and you end up draining the pool, right? That's what happened to Mango markets. The attack itself is more complicated, but that's the global idea. And then we have business logic attacks. Euler Finance, $197 million, 13th of March 2022. Basically, you could have bad debt and return the debt tokens to Euler Finance, and they should have checked that you had like good health in the debt, but they didn't, so you could do it having bad debt, and Euler Finance would have to ingest your bad debt. And that's how it was basically attacked. It's just one missing require, right? So yeah, this is how black hats take our money. So what do we have to fight against them? Pablo, please.
Thank you. So this is what you would consider the security stack. So back in the days, there was absolutely nothing to protect yourself against. And now, after all these reiterated attempts to hack users and steal money, so a lot of companies and users started to create solutions, right, at different layers, such as the ecosystem layer, the smart contract and protocol logic layer, and also at the infrastructure layer. So this is a rough overview. It's not complete, but let's have a look first on how this kind of all started, so we can get like a more context on like the whole history and how the security community is moving. So let's imagine also as a rough view that 2020 you had like a bunch of traditional security firms. So if you're a project team building smart contracts and you would need an audit, then you would go to either one of these and then you would get your code reviewed. And then, because there was still demand for security and there wasn't really enough supply of services, nor there wasn't enough supply of security researchers to aid all this demand for code reviews, then initiatives such as ImmuneFi, which is a bug bounty platform, appeared, helping a lot project teams to check on bugs on code that has already been deployed. So if you have developed something and you have deployed it, now you have a public bug bounty program that people can look at your code, and then if they see something that is worth submitting, you will get paid by finding vulnerabilities. And then you will have the amazing contests models, such as Code for Arena and Sherlock, that did not only align the incentives of protocol teams working on code, but also got a lot of people involved in security because of the gamified contest model. So now more security researchers are getting into the space, and now even more alternatives exist just besides what a traditional audit firm are. And then in 2022, Spearbit came in, and what they did is pretty much create like a talent aggregator pool, as well as offer a new generation of security services. So in Spearbit, also like disclaimer, like I'm part of Spearbit, you'll get like the best talent there is in the space, and these people are assembled in teams to work on very, very specific problems. And there's a massive difference between what Spearbit does and like a traditional audit firm does. But we will not get into it right now. You can ask me later if you want. And also a new generation of security services, such as offering architectural consulting and virtual CISO services, and helping out with monitoring. So only one entity was already covering a lot of ground. So this also helped a lot of smart contract teams and protocols to rest assured that there is more people looking at their code and they can get it audited. And now, in 2023, if you've been paying attention to Twitter or what's been going on in the security industry, we got the rise of the independent auditors, the guilds, that's what we call like the small firms, and also a lot of new education initiatives. So thanks to all the work that everyone has been putting up throughout like the whole years, there is more people involved in security, and therefore there is more eyes looking at code, and therefore it is much easier, I would not say easier, but it is much, well, I'd say easier to protect like the code that is already deployed or not. So clients and protocols have many more alternatives than just going to one traditional firm. And 2023 and later on, what's going to happen? So Spearbit saw already this problem, and they created the first ever marketplace, which is pretty much contacting or like linking teams, protocols, clients with all the existing services and players that exist in the security community, such as the independent researchers, such as guilds and firms, also like public goods auditing that Tincho spoke about this morning. You're also gonna get tooling and custom security services. So this is the future of security, as we would say. And here is like a quick thing that the Cantina is doing, the first public goods audit, funded by a lot of multiple invested parties of the industry. So if you don't know about Solidity, Solidity is a building block. It's a primitive, and many people are using Solidity in order to build gas-optimized contracts. So if a lot of people are using it, then it just makes sense that this code is secure, and therefore it's a public good audit in order to find any kind of vulnerability that they may have. So let's go to
I can
tools.
take it from here. Thanks. So yeah, tooling. You know, there are several tools that have been from the past present in this space. Most famous one is static analysis Slither, formal verification by Certora, vulnerability scanning services by Consensus Mythics. But last years, there was an explosion of new tools. There's
Jesus.
Yeah, there's Foundry that allows you to do fuzzing easily. There's Heimdall, Arbiter. There are a lot of good VS Code plugins. So tools are blooming. The ecosystem is blooming. There's independent auditors. There's marketplaces, firms, and artificial intelligence. So many people claim that they can audit a code base using ChatGPT by scanning the most common vulnerabilities. The question is, are we there still?
Well, none of the studies have been peer-reviewed yet, so I guess we will have to wait a bit more.
I mean, the future looks bright. Like this will be a building block building block for security, a very useful tool for auditors. But still in doubt. You know, we still have to train these AIs to perform as well as a security researcher. But yeah. Next, what we want to talk about was education. What has impacted the security space in the last couple of years? Well, needless to say, Securium. In fact, we're Securium alumni. Securium is a running on bootcamp on security, on smart contract security that runs tests, gives young researchers opportunities to engage with different protocols, with different firms. Then in 2022 was the first ever Ethereum smart contract security-oriented conference called Securium TrustX at DEF Connect Amsterdam, and shortly after, in August, was the first annual DeFi Security Summit, where many security experts got together to talk about security, what's coming next, what are the tools we're building, what are the tools that aren't necessary anymore, what do we need, what is excessive in this space, and so on. So yeah, what's the future? Well, this year, in 1 week, we have the DeFi Security Summit in Paris, the second edition. So
catch us there.
Catch us there. Please make sure to go. And are we going to have Securium TrustX Part 2?
Maybe, but it may run with Key and start with Tor. We'll find out.
We'll find out. But people are excited about it, and you should so if you are interested in security, which you should, right? So TLDR, future looks bright, right? Security by design mindset should be adopted by developers. So this is not only for security people. This is for developers. This is for clients. This is for everyone, right? We should have a security-oriented mindset. There are more tools, more education, more resources right now than ever, right? And supply meets demand, right? We need more auditors. We need more security. We need more experts, and we're getting it, right? So who are the guardians of the blockchain?
We all are.
We are.
The guardians of the
Right? So, thank you.
If anyone has any questions, then feel free to shoot it anytime. Or
Yeah, look at the screen.
Here? Okay. No question? Oh, okay. Do you think AI can play a part in security? Of course. It will play a part, but I don't believe AI is ready yet to take all the tasks by itself. Like, you cannot.
yeah, so this is an excellent question, whoever posed it. And if you try many times auditing smart contracts or protocols themselves, you will find out that a ChatGPT or AI for now fails a lot Because right now, a large language model, what it's pretty much doing is just using whatever input has been provided for training data. So there's things that it will never be able to catch, such as economic attacks, because you also need to look at different dependencies and external factors, such as something that an auditor can do.
So there's not yet a capacity of abstraction that a human being is capable of.
Don't you think that experts deserve the money? No.
Never.
What is your opinion on the morality of exploits? They're bad, don't do them, be good.
There are bug bounty programs. If you find something, report it or get in contact with the protocol.
Be a good hacker and help the industry.
Yeah, don't be a black hat.
And that's everything we have in the system. Thank you, everyone, for having us here,
but maybe there's someone like in the room that wants to ask a question.
Unless.
Okay, so.
It's like, and you know, like that.
There's
move.
like let's go. Yeah.
What do you think is the highest possibility right now for like a project to get hacked? Like, where is their biggest, I guess, the weakness that you've been seeing?
So, excellent question.
It's a tough one.
The first one is that there are still very common vulnerabilities that everyone knows about, but they still happen, such as
entrances.
Yes. So these things are caught often. So if a smart contract protocol team has tests, and they do tests, and they have a security mindset, they will catch almost all of them. So that's one.
Also, there are like design flaws, right? If you're doing, thanks to documentation, information, and education we have, if you're doing a DeFi protocol, for example, you look at past DeFi protocols, right? You don't have to invent it yourself because someone has done it before, someone has made mistakes before. There was Uniswap version 1, version 2, version 3, right?
If it's a fork of a fork, then beware of the team, because they might have, not approach security seriously, and forkception usually get hacked. So you can just go check the rec leaderboard, like most forks always get hacked, especially Compound. Compound forks are insane. More questions?
Anything?
1, 2, 3. Okay, it's a wrap up. Thank you everyone again.